All right, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this board meeting to order. We've been in open session, so I'm calling us back into open session. This historic board meeting. It's the first time we've met under these circumstances in a video call, as many other boards are doing across the country. But we appreciate everyone being here, and we appreciate our staff working hard to help us put all this together so we can make it happen. So we're going to try and keep it as moving as normal as possible, and we will go ahead and start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. So join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America
and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you for helping remember all the words. All right. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
President, I move the board approve the April 13, 2020 agenda.
Second.
All right, and just to repeat, we will be voting by either roll call or just all in favor. We will not be using electronic voting tonight, so we can record the votes that way. So all in favor of approval of tonight's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Is there any board members who would like to give a report this evening?
I'd just like to say thank you to all the teachers and staff that did our parades around town. It was really encouraging, and I know a lot of the kids really appreciate it. And not just the kids, but some of the neighbors. We drove past after Norfleets, and it was neat to see even some of the older families out on their porch waving too and connecting. So thank you for that.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I just want to say that all those notes and gifts of appreciation that we received during Board Appreciation Week have an even deeper meaning right now. So thank you for all that too, to all the schools.
Yes, thank you very much. Anyone else? All right. I don't think we had any other comments. Let's move on to report of superintendent highlights.
Mr. President, only a couple items tonight. I believe Dr. Huff is going to speak to 7.1, the middle school modified block. Dr. Huff.
Yes, good evening, everybody. We had a recommendation from Ray team based on a survey of middle school staff members that recommended that we discontinue modified block at the middle school. And they had a few reasons. Probably the biggest was that it's just been rough with classroom management with middle school students when you have them for an hour and a half in the classroom at one time. And so they've suggested we go back to a regular 7-period day. The reason we went to modified block in the first place, the secondary, is because Wednesdays is so short. When we went to the early release Wednesdays, the class periods on a 7-period Wednesday were about 35 minutes long. And teachers didn't like that at the time. Well, middle school folks have been able to experience both, and they'd like to revert back to the prior way of doing things. High school is still very much in favor of doing the modified block at high school. So we plan to maintain modified block at high school, discontinue it at middle school. They are currently doing master scheduling right now. So we'll see how well that works with our traveling teachers, band, choir, orchestra, that travel between the middle school and the high school. But they believe they can work that out. So they're doing that now.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Dr. Huff?
Alonzo's got his hand up. And you're on mute, Alonzo.
Still on mute.
All right, here we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, sorry about that. How long has that been in place in the middle school?
Wow, I'd say a good 5-6 years.
The 7-period day. What was the reason for that?
We've been on modified block for about 5 or 6 years. We're on a 7-period day normally. So the modified block is only on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And that's where we go to I believe it's the odd periods on Tuesdays, even periods on Wednesdays. And it's an hour and a half long instead. And what that allows us to do is have a regular, longer period instead of the short period. So they'll go back to 7 periods every day.
I was wondering what made them switch from just 7 periods every day.
Oh, well, that was because we went to the early release Wednesdays. And that's been probably 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And when we did that, we lived that for a couple of years, and it was just frustrating that those Wednesdays were so short. It felt very choppy. They're always moving from class to class. And so they wanted to try that.
Okay.
I'll tell you that one of the other things that teachers don't like about it is that you still only get, let's say you have a 5th period plan, you still only get your plan on 5th period. Well, I just told you, you have evens on Wednesdays, odd classes on Tuesday. So if I have 5th period plan, I get a planned period on Tuesday, but not on Wednesday. The planned period is twice as long on Tuesday, but I still go all day Wednesday without a planned period. And that's also, one of the hard parts about teaching on a modified block schedule.
Okay. So is this going to benefit the teachers more or the students more, or was just? No.
I think it's probably a little bit of both. When we surveyed students, there wasn't a big advantage in their eyes either. And so I don't think this is one of those things we can go back and take a look at research and see a huge advantage one way or another. I'd say it's probably more along the lines of preference. So.
Yeah. What do you think why does the high school prefer it more?
Well, the honest truth is just high school students are better able to be in one place for a longer period of time. A 12-year-old isn't really able to sit in one place for an hour and a half. So it's just age, maturity.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yep.
I like that these longer class times in the high school, it'll prepare them better for college too, I think. Because so many are going to the longer block hours.
Sure. Well, there's huge advantages. If you want to do a Socratic seminar, for instance, it's very difficult to do that sort of thing within a short class period. So there's big advantages to it too. If I want to do a lab in science or in foods, there are certain classes that really, really like it.
All right, thank you. You're on mute, Dr. Markley.
Thank you very much. Yes. 7.2, academic changes as a result of virtual instruction. We mentioned to the board in the Friday update and from feedback we got from our staff and students and parents. This week, we're moving to a 4-day student week, and Friday will be left for students for teachers to collaborate, any professional development, kind of like what we use Wednesday afternoons for, but to a greater scale. Also that time, teachers will be able to spend some time to reach out to kids they may not have been able to get to during the week. So we wanted to bring the board up to speed on that. If you looked at the survey and some of the different responses, and we've had some responses from staff members about maybe too much of a good thing is too much, and we're starting to see that. This is new for us, but we wanted to bring the board up to speed. And Brian, do you want to add to that at all?
I've got quite a few things to talk about just as far as academic changes. I will agree that we have to think about pacing, and we have 6 weeks left, and we've been through 3 weeks so far, and it's a bit of a marathon. And to get through that, we probably need to have that day of collaboration and planning, and families probably need that additional day just to collect themselves.
We have several items in new business that we're going to bring to the board's attention, information and some action items and some recommendations coming from Deci since the governor has shut us down for the rest of the year. We'll probably, do you want to hit some of those now, Brian, or do you want to wait until we get there?
Yeah, we've got those recommendations are later on in the agenda as far as graduation and credits and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Dr. Markley,
Yes.
that 4-day school week, how many hours a day?
It can range from depending on where you're at in elementary or middle school or high school students. It'll be less probably for elementary kids. We're not getting a 7-hour day. Kids aren't spending 7 hours a day on their laptops or involved in that. Time-wise, for the high school the same way, or middle school, they'll be a little bit longer than the elementary. There's really no set time. It's more about the assignments and getting the assignments that are assigned done in a certain amount of time.
So in other words, a student can get homework done in 2 hours and the day is done for that student.
They could, yes, they could.
Our average time for high school, middle school kids is just under 4 hours. Elementary kids are getting done under 3. Our pre-K 2 kids are getting done in about 2 hours.
Thank you.
All right. Finance Committee report, Dr. Shelton.
Yes, you have the minutes from our Finance Committee meeting from early March. There are a number of items that we covered. Probably one of the most important items pertaining to the board would be the recommendation of the auditor, which the board approved at our last meeting in March. But there are other items there, and I'm ready for any questions, or the rest of the Finance Committee is available for questions as well.
Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Shelton or anything about the report? All right, good. Thank you, Dr. Sheldon. Raytown Educational Foundation. Mr. Landers?
Yes. You had a chance to read this. I'll just kind of hit some of the highlights. The thing they want to let people know that they will continue with the class of 2020 scholarships, and they will be awarded. They're just going to have to figure out a little bit different way to present those awards to the students. Under their fundraising, Raytown Night at the Mavericks, they made a little over $1,500 from that event. The foundation scholarship season is in progress. Right now, they've received scholarship applications from 97 students, and that's a 27% increase from last year. They've divided all these up to different readers. The readers are in the process of evaluating the application and then making recommendations as who would get the scholarship. Dual credit scholarships, a lot of the students are starting to turn in their receipts. I believe the foundation pays a third of their tuition cost, and with the situation we're in right now and money being in some cases kind of hard to come by, they're doing as much as they can to expedite getting those the tuitions reimbursed to the families and to the students. And then the last thing they want to make the teachers aware of, and that is the applications for next year's teaching and learning grants are due at the end of April. So we understand that the teachers are very busy and they're working hard and trying to meet the needs of our students, but also those teachers have some good ideas that might qualify for a grant, get those applications turned in so they can deal with that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Terry. Any questions for Mr. Landers? Thank you to Ref, and thanks, Martha. I know you're out there. Thank you for keeping things going. And I know you email staff and everyone on a regular basis about what's going on. Thank you for that. All right, so I originally thought that this was going to happen in June since the April elections were delayed. Since we did not have elections, since there was only the same number of people filed that were positions were open, we did not have elections. So guidance was that we would continue as normal. So we are going to have the oaths of office for all the board members who retain their positions.
Mr. Burton?
Ms. Johnston?
Yes, Mr. Burton? Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
All right. Can you please raise your right hand and repeat after me?
Yeah.
I do solemnly swear that I will support
I do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of school director
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of school director
in and for the Raytown C2 School District, County of Jackson, State of Missouri,
School District, County of Jackson, State of Missouri,
to the best of my ability according to law. Thank you. Mr. Landers,
Yes.
can you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I do solemnly swear that I will support
I do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of school director
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the school director
in the Raytown C2 School District, County of Jackson, State of Missouri,
in and for the Raytown C2 School District, County of Jackson, State of Missouri,
to the best of my ability according to law.
to the best of my ability according to law.
Thank you. Mr. Moore,
Yes.
please
You
raise your
want me
right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support
I do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of school director
and that I will faithfully and partially discharge the duties of school director
in and for the Raytown C2 School District, County
and
of
for the-
Jackson, State of Missouri,
in and for the Raytown C2 School District, County of Jackson, State of Missouri,
to the best of my ability according to law.
to the best of my ability according to law.
Thank you. Ms. Plank? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support
I do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution,
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of school director
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of school director
in and for the Raytown C2 School District, County of Jackson, State of Missouri,
in and for the Raytown C2 School District, County of Jackson, State of Missouri,
to the ability according to law.
to the best of my ability according to law.
Thank you.
Okay, let's give him a round of applause. Congratulations.
Hey. Thumbs up.
Never thought I would take the oath of office sitting in my desk at home.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay,
I guess we're not having cake.
no, not tonight.
Guess not.
Not tonight.
I am.
Congratulations, Alonzo, especially because that's important that you're filling out that term. So
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, it's time to reorganize the board. Item 13.1, election of the 2020-2020 board president. Do I have any nominations?
Excuse me, Dr. Mark,
Yes, sir.
I would move the board elect Rick Moore as president for the 2020-21 Board of Education.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
We have Mr. Landers. Any other nominations for board president?
Dr. Markley,
Yes.
I do not have a nomination. I just want to make a statement.
Okay.
I am supportive of Mr. Moore. However, I do wish to make a statement in reference to a minor incident. Nevertheless, it was an incident that I thought was worthy of me mentioning this, is that as the board president, that's what the board president is. He's not the whole board. So any decisions that are made that reflects upon the board should make sure that it is communicated with the board, whether it's a minor thing such as changing the agenda. That's still something the board needs to be aware of. So I want to bring that to Mr. Moore's attention, because little foxes do spoil the vine. We want to make sure that we are consciously aware that we are only one member of the board and not the whole board.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Mr. Moore. Are there any other nominations?
Thank you, Bobby, for that comment.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, is there a motion to cease the nominations for board president?
Dr. Markley, I move we cease the nominations. Nominations cease or whatever.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, we have a motion to cease the nominations. Let's go ahead and take that vote. So we have that for record. And I'll do it by ayes. All in favor of ceasing the nominations, say aye.
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 All opposed, same. Okay. We have one person nominated for the board president and a motion. Let's go ahead and vote on that so we have that in record as well. All in favor of Mr. Moore being the board president for the 2020-2021 school year, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Moore, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, now I do entertain nominations for board vice president.
Mr. President,
Ms. Tittle.
I move that the board elect Terry Landers as vice president, the 2020 and 2021 Board of Education.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Thank you. Are there any other nominations for board vice president? All right, let's vote on that motion to elect Terry Landers as board vice president. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? All right, thank you, Mr. Landers, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Again, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. And we didn't actually adjourn, sign, or die, but this has been an interesting year. That the board year started out with an interesting times. We had interesting times in the middle of the year with buildings trying to fall down, and then now we're ending the year under these circumstances and starting the new year this way. So it's trying times and interesting times for all of us, but we'll keep moving forward, and we've got some good things done, and we've got some good things coming up ahead. So appreciate that and looking forward to another good year. So is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
Mr. President, I move that oh, we're not on that page.
My screen is on that, so hang tight for just a minute. I think Melissa had to reconnect.
I can say it. Mr. President, I move that the board approve the April 13th, 2020 consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions about the consent agenda? All right, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
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 Opposed? And the consent agenda is approved. There's one item of unfinished business, adoption of policies. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. President, I move that the board approve policies AC, prohibition against discrimination, harassment, and retaliation, EF, food service management, IGBH, programs for English learners, DJFA, federal programs and projects, GCI, professional staff reassignments and transfers, GDI, support staff reassignments and transfers, and JO, student records.
Second.
Second.
All right. As a policy committee, had all their discussions and meetings about this as necessary?
They have. During the last policy committee meeting, these policies were approved and passed out after a few changes to the policies that are presented tonight.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, so the next item, we need to appoint a delegate to the Great Ideas Summit scheduled for June 19th and 20th in Springfield. Does anybody know that they're going to go to this summit, assuming that it even happens?
Mr. President,
Yes.
if it does happen, I would be willing to be a delegate or an alternate because I plan to go.
Okay.
Mr. President, I should be getting my award at that one, so I will be there.
Okay.
Mr. President, I would suggest that we have Amy as our delegate and Beth as our alternate.
All right.
Since they signed
That
up.
sounds good to me. All right. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right. If anyone else decides to go, that'll be great. And then anyone who can go, that would be good if it ends up happening.
I would like to go as well.
Well, I would encourage everyone to go if possible, if it ends up happening.
Yeah, right.
Then you also saw an email I sent out earlier this week about a webinar on equity. So hopefully some people can log into that webinar.
Rick, I signed up for it.
Okay, good. And it is free, I believe.
Yeah.
All right. We don't need to vote on that. Do we? No.
No.
All right. Naming committee, I'll entertain a motion to approve the names for the culinary facility.
Mr. President, I move that the board accept the committee's recommendation to name the culinary facility Institute of Culinary Arts and the dining space Cinder.
Is there a second?
Second, but I also have a question.
All right. Let me just mention first before we start the questions. Amy and I were a part of the naming committee, and there was a few different meetings and several people, including Chef Mike and Cheryl. So all these names are under the umbrella of Herndon, but the overall school we thought would be called Institute of Culinary Arts, and then they wanted to have a separate name for the restaurant part so it will stand out when they start serving and opening to the public. So there were lots of different names discussed, and everyone had several different favorites, but Institute of Culinary Arts was easy to decide on, and then the restaurant name, there was more discussion around that, but they ended up coming to a consensus on the name Cinder for the restaurant space. Amy, do you want to say anything else about that?
Well, you mean historically? The committee was considering several names, but the name Cinder has a historical value because of the history of Raytown and the blacksmith, and the whole building is the whole building for the dining area has some historical throwback features also. So we thought, or the committee thought, that the name Cinder would be something it's a new name, it's kind of modern, and it also reflects and supports the history of our district and city.
All right, thank you, Amy. Any other questions about any of that or the minutes from the committee, the naming committee?
Amy kind of answered my question about the history of the name Cinder. I think it cleared it up. Thanks.
Chef Mike assured me that that would not be an item on the menu for the ribeye. Cinder ribeye. So I think we're safe.
All right, any other questions or comments about that? All right, let's vote. All in favor of the recommendations for the naming of the Culinary Center, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. All right, is there a motion to approve purchase of Chromebooks?
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the purchase of Chromebooks for the South Middle School from CDWG in the amount of $28,140.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Are we going to be able to get them?
Hi, Jess. Yes, I'm here. We're hoping that we will be able to get them in time. As of right now, we're looking at maybe a middle of May shipment. So if we can do that, we'll be able to get them in this fiscal year. Once they ship, we usually get them within a week or two. So our hope is that we'll still be able to do that.
So this is a little bit unusual that we're buying Chromebooks specifically for a certain school.
I can address that. This is a very unusual purchase, and it's because South Middle School is a title school, and this happens at South Middle in particular. They become a title school because their free and reduced lunch rate gets to a certain level, and they kind of hover right around that level. And so we kind of go in and out of Title I status with them. Now, Title I status requires that we spend additional funds at that school. And we need to spend those title funds at that school. And so we really left it up to the schools to what sort of supplies that they want. Well, they have a different plan than the other two middle schools on how to distribute their one-to-one computers. And so South Middle School has one-to-one computers right now for Chromebooks. But what they want to be able to do is have all of their Chromebooks stay in each classroom and with a cart. To do that, though, you actually need more computers than you have kids. And this is going to get us to the place where we have that more computers and kids. As you know, anytime you can remove any sort of chaos from a middle school, that's good. Kids carrying around Chromebooks in middle school just creates chaos in and of itself. They don't bring their charge cable. They forget their computer. They drop them. They whatever. So it's not an all bad plan at all to have these computers within the classroom at each school, at South Middle School. It is a very expensive plan that we don't really want to replicate in the other two middle schools, though, because you don't have title funds at Ray Middle or Central Middle.
All right, thank you.
Mr.
Any other-
Moore,
Yes.
we lost Bobby, so we need to actually wait a minute or two before we vote.
All right.
Dr. Huff? Oh, he disappeared. Will they, will the South kids, will they still take Chromebooks home then?
Just 8th grade. And actually that's how it is at the other two middle schools also. We only send home with the 8th graders because we found that it takes a level of maturity to remember to bring it every day, to bring it charged every day. So at any rate, it seems to work pretty decent with the 8th graders. But getting down to 6th and 7th, it's just hard. So obviously right now they have them at home. But next year we'll dive back into just being the 8th graders taking home.
Thank you.
It should be just another minute for Ms. Salisbury. And sorry about that. I was trying to multitask earlier.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting, I'll just say appreciate everyone who has joined us in attendance tonight. It looks like we have 42 attendees, so that's if we were in the boardroom, we'd be packed out. So appreciate you dialing into our meeting. Probably this format actually allows some people to join that wouldn't normally be able to. So
Yeah.
I guess that is one benefit.
I have it on authority. We're on some large screen TVs in some houses.
Oh, please. I'm going to, in that case.
Glad I wore a tie. I brought my jacket. Maybe I should put it on.
Well, there's nothing but reruns on anyway, so I guess if this is on the big screen, I guess they're not that desperate.
Can you connect your? Okay, we have Ms. Salisbury.
All right.
I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Electronic and technology. Okay, what are we doing?
We were just getting ready to vote on the South Middle Chromebooks.
Okay,
Was there any other questions or comments about those?
I didn't have any.
All right. So all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
can you turn your video back on? Thank you.
You're mute.
There we go. All right. Is there a motion to approve more computers?
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the purchase of 170 L490 laptops and 100 Chromebooks from CDWG for a total of $137,040.
Second.
Mr. President,
Yes. Yes. Is somebody going to make a comment?
and I've got a note that says my internet connection is unstable. Did you hear what I said?
Well, no. I heard you call the floor, but
Okay, would you like I start over?
yes, we didn't hear you say anything.
I move that the board approve the.
Oh, we got the motion. I'm sorry about that, Mr. Lambs. We got the motion in a second.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Any questions about these? Melissa, do you have anything for us on this purchase?
No, this is just the continuation of our normal rotation. We just didn't have the staff numbers at the last meeting, so we're bringing them this meeting.
All right. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. All right. Yes, Dr. Markley, going to share some Deci recommendations with us.
I will. There's not very many, and a lot of them you may have seen some of them coming out of the governor's office. But the main recommendations are that Deci they're forgiving the COVID-19 days that we missed. So basically, the week after spring break, moving forward to the end of the school year, are forgiven as far as having to make them up, as long as we are offering some type of virtual instruction during that time. It is an option to the districts to continue to serve meals if they want to, and we will, and we'll actually continue to serve those out through June the 30th. So that's really, we haven't seen a lot of directions. They've left it up to the districts other than the fact of, some districts, including us, have more credits required to receive certain diplomas, but Deci is waiving they are recommending that folks go with Deci's amount of credits that they have required to graduate in the state, which we are. Other than that, there's really not much direction coming from Deci other than stick with the board approved calendar that you had set in place. And you had already done that prior to this meeting and prior to us being put out of school because of COVID-19. So they're leaving it up locally to what we can do academically, which is what they're intended to do from day one. And we're continuing to do that. Not answer any questions anybody might have, but I just want to make sure you heard that from me.
So I have a question about where reporting attendance, how they're requiring attendance to be reported, and how our funding is going to be affected by the attendance reporting.
We are not actually, the only attendance that we're reporting is the number of eligible pupils that we're reporting that are enrolled. So when we report in January, and we report also at the end of the year, the number of students that we have, and we have students, it's pretty much going to be from what that number was after spring break, because students aren't withdrawing because they can't enroll anywhere else. And what they will do is take a look at our 2 years prior eligible pupil count, and that's where we'll be determined on the amount of money that we get. So it's no different. It hasn't changed. Districts won't lose money. Districts that have more students enrolling than what they had in January will also gain more money because they either use the year that you're in or the 2 years prior when it comes to your payment for the foundation formula and also for your Prop C monies.
All right. All right.
Any questions?
Was that the only thing then on that?
That was it.
All right. Okay, school end date 2020.
We have the school calendar now says May the 20th is the last day. Seniors' last day will be May the 8th. So those are the 2 last days of note for everyone. So we will take our virtual learning to that point, and that's when we'll end school and prepare for summer school.
All right, thank you. Any questions about that?
What was that date? I didn't hear that date.
May the 20th for the last day of school. The seniors' last day, Mr. Burton, will be May the 8th.
Those were the original dates on the calendar, I believe.
That's right.
Okay, graduation plan.
Well, currently we are planning to graduate, and let me click over to my calendar. Our plan was to have our graduations on the 12th and the 13th. And we were told by the Independence Event Center that those dates would not be open. So we scheduled the next week, I believe, and Ms. Pulaski's on the line, the 18th and the 19th. Or I think it's the 19th and the 20th. That's when we currently have that facility booked. And I don't know if you saw where the mayor talked today about extending the stay-at-home order until mid-May, possibly May the 22nd. So we expect that date to probably be taken away from us as well. And also knowing that once
That facility's not in Kansas City.
That's true, but what we have seen, it is in Jackson County. And Jackson County has followed suit with the mayor of Kansas City when it comes to the amount of time that the stay-at-home order is issued. So we expect that to happen. We also know that they're not probably going to allow large groups when the order is lifted. It's not like we go back to the normal routine. Likely they're going to keep the groups of people meeting small, whether it be 10 or 50 or 100, then they go to 500 and maybe 1,000. And we've been told that that may last until all the month of June and into July. So our plan for graduation right now, if that does occur, that those dates are lost in May that we currently have on the calendar, we're looking to book the Independence Event Center for the week after July the 4th. So that would be, let me get over there. We are going to look to get the 7th, somewhere between the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th to try and get that facility to have our graduations. Beyond that, we will continue to push it out. There's been some talk about having a virtual graduation. There's actually companies out there now that are selling that option. We haven't really gone down that road. It's a big deal in our district for kids to walk across the stage. And we want to hold out hope. What's our drop dead timeline on that? Oh, probably by the time somewhere around mid-August or when some kids are going off to school that couldn't be there. But I think we keep pushing this back as long as we can to get our kids across the stage here in Raytown.
I agree. Any other questions for Dr. Markley on that? Thanks for your work on that. I'm sure you're looking at all options, including whether we have it outdoors or use Connection Point Church again, or anything we need to do to make sure that it happens.
If the order is lifted that we can meet in large groups, we'll find a place.
Do we need a motion on that, or should that be info only?
I
don't think we need a motion.
Not yet. We can always, let's wait until May because we'll know if that's going to happen. So right now it's just the plan in place. We haven't been told that we can't have the dates we currently have in May. So let's hold off on that, even though we have it down as action.
All right. Is that it?
That's it for me.
All right. I need a motion on approving high school students earning credit.
Mr. President, I move to approve high school students earning credit by other means as allowed by board policy IKF and Missouri law for the spring semester of 2020 due to school days missed resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, to adopt the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's hold harmless grading model, meaning high school students will earn credit based on their grades as of April 3rd, 2020, or their end of semester grade, whichever is higher, and to direct the administration to publish grading procedures implementing the hold harmless model.
Second.
Or motion is second. Who's going to speak to this?
Dr. Huff.
Okay, so there are actually three distinct parts of this. One is grading, two is the awarding of credit, and three is graduation of students. I'll speak to the grading. You'll notice that there is an attachment that has our grading policy that, I shouldn't say policy, but it's our practice that we're abiding by right now. And so we got off, last day of school was right before spring break. We had 1 week up until April 3rd. And during that week, teachers did grade, students were given assignments, teachers collected assignments, teachers graded assignments and entered assignments into the grade book. And if a student did not submit an assignment, they were giving an exempt code in SIS K-12, which means that it did not hurt their grade. If they did the assignment, it could potentially help their grade. And so between, for that 1 week, we are counting grades, but we also gave a whole lot of grace. If students turned in nothing, their grade didn't change. Students just got that grade report card today. And so they have an idea about where they stand. Now, we will continue from that point on, April 3rd on, through the rest of the year. We're giving assignments, collecting assignments, grading assignments, entering assignments into SIS K-12. If a student between April 3rd and the end of the year does not submit an assignment, they get a 0 in SIS K-12, just like normal. And so their grade will continue to calculate from April 3rd on. And then when the end of the school year comes, we'll have 2 grades, the April 3rd grade and the end of the semester grade. Students will get the higher of those 2 grades. And so if a student theoretically does nothing from spring break on, the grade they had from the day before spring break will be their final semester grade. So that's the grading portion. The awarding of credit obviously is based on the grading portion, because what they get for the grade will award them the credit. And the state has allowed us to be able to use this other method of calculating graduation requirements because, again, theoretically, a student could miss a good chunk of the semester and do nothing and still be awarded the credit for that class. And so we are opting, this board agenda item is opting to go with that plan. So those are the 3 components.
Dr. Huff, you might also speak to, we have several students enrolled in dual credit and what the universities have been telling us.
Okay, so there's another component there. So the universities are allowing students to either take the grade in the class or do it as pass-fail. Now, students who are in a dual credit course are not necessarily enrolled with the university. And so if they're in calculus, they could just be in calculus with UCM, but they didn't pay the tuition for UCM, so they're not actually getting the college credit, they're just getting the high school end of it. So all of those kids are dually enrolled, hence the name dual credit. They're getting high school credit and college credit at the same time. The universities are allowing the students to opt for one of 2 methods. They can do the pass-fail for the course, or they can get the grade for the course. The only time where it's really advantageous for a student to do pass-fail is if they have a D, because a pass on their transcript does them no good. I mean, they can't use that credit. For instance, if they're a math major and they get a pass in calculus, that does not help them. They can't use that credit. And so it's only advantageous if they have the D, because then they don't get the lowering of their GPA. But our stance is they're still going to get the grade for us. So if a kid has a D in calculus and takes the pass at UCM, they're still going to get a D on our transcript. Okay.
Dr. Huff.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to make sure I was on.
No.
Hey, it's the one in reference to the kid, if he didn't, whatever his grade was prior to April 3rd. So if a kid is not doing good, is there any way that they could do some makeup work or anything for that?
Okay, so what's not in the actual policy is what I've told teachers, and that is that if we have students that are participating from here on out, grade them nicely, because they are choosing to participate where they don't necessarily have to participate, but we want to give them credit for doing so. And so they are, I mean, they're not making it easy or anything, But yes, if they do a great job between April, whatever the end of spring break was, all the way through to May 20th, it will be advantageous for them.
Are we getting this information to those students that are having that situation? I mean, I'm sure you are, but I'm just curious.
Right. The individual teachers are doing that. And they're just like we would during the regular school year. Really, it's operating very similarly as it would in the regular school year. Those teachers are having individual conferences with the kids, helping you get them motivated, that sort of thing. That's a big part of a teaching job. And I should also mention that typically at the end of the school year, we give finals in 6th grade up through high school. And that final counts for 10% of their grade. That's not going to exist this year because, one, it's very difficult to give a final virtually. One of the things we don't have in curriculum and instruction is a good virtual testing platform. We are in the midst of an MOU right now, and in May, we'll bring a recommendation to purchase a testing platform, maybe June. I'll hopefully have it in May. So actually, if this happens next year, we would be able to give a final exam virtually. But the other thing is we have a good chunk of kids that just aren't able to even take it. So we're just going to give a test at the end of the year that's a much more reduced version than it would be typically. So this is just a very atypical end of the year.
Thank you.
Is this grading COVID-19 grade? Is that our school district, or is that
the grading policy that's attached?
Yeah.
Only us. And I will tell you that there is a huge range of what districts are doing. And we are, I will say, probably at the far end of that range. There's probably a couple of districts that are along with us, but most districts are doing very unique methods of grading. For instance, I know of a district that is just doing it on participation. And so if you participate in 80% of the classroom sessions, you get a 5% bump in your grade. That sort of thing. There are just a wild variety of methods of grading. We are the most traditional of anybody I've seen.
I mean, how did we come up with this? Was this a teacher input?
Mostly in collaboration with principals. And they talk with their BLTs. The big feedback we're getting from teachers is we need to keep holding our students accountable as much as possible. Quite honestly, if we were to go as far as the teachers wanted to go, we would have held everybody accountable, but we really can't do that. We understand that we have a whole lot of students who just can't get online. There are viable reasons why they're not participating. And we just need to accept that is the case.
I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
Dr. Huff, this has just mentioned the subject of getting online. So there was something that I read about school districts petitioning for internet service for all of the district. Is that something that you're aware of?
Well, actually, because of this, some of our internet providers in the area stepped up to the plate and gave the option of free internet for, I think it's like 60 days. Spectrum was one of those that said, you just sign up and we'll give you free internet for 60 days. So we gave our parents all of the contact information to get with these carriers to get that internet service. And in addition to that, if we found that you just couldn't do any of those things, we even had some hotspots we were checking out to some kids to be able to use to get on the internet. We really tried hard to meet the needs of all of our kids to be able to get on the internet in some form or fashion.
So Dr. Huff, could you tell me what is the motivation of other districts to be non-traditional, to be in the other spectrum? Tell me what's their motivation.
Sure. I will tell you that this is just new ground, and we're going to have to all live it for a little bit to see what the best path is. And the philosophy of some folks, I'll tell you first our philosophy. Our philosophy is that we believe we should try to deliver the curriculum in the most pure form as we possibly can, because our students need to continue to move forward as much as possible. And so we have said, hey, here is the curriculum. Here are all the tools you need to deliver the curriculum in the world we're living in right now. And teachers are then customizing it based on what their students, who their students are and what their students need for the next year. And they're paring it down to just the very most important aspects of that curriculum so that their students are successful moving into next year. There are a couple other districts that are doing just what we're doing. And, you know, some districts are doing just what we're doing, and they're just not grading the same way we are. Some districts are doing a very similar grading method as we are. But then you go to the far end of the spectrum, and some districts are just giving kind of packets of stuff. If you're a 10th grader, here is your package of things that you need to do. There's no connection with your teacher. There's no individuality. It's just, here it is. So I really think that we are at the edge of the sword on this one, that we're giving the very best education possible that is individualized for what our kids need. That's going to keep them moving on to be successful next year.
I think some part of that determination of where they're falling on their grading is has a lot to do with where they are, particularly geographically. To answer your question, Bobby, on some of the, I think maybe this was part of your question. You can tell me if it was or it wasn't. But as far as districts requesting access to the internet, a lot of the rural districts in this state do not have that access to the internet, and a lot of those school districts are not one-to-one. So they're struggling to get some type of education to their kids. Most of those are probably in paper form. So I would think that, and to maybe answer Mr. Tody's question a little bit, depending on what they are providing for the virtual instruction, whether it be robust, like I think what ours is, because we have just the capabilities to do so, as opposed to, I know on a meeting I was in earlier this week, some districts are not doing anything, but just because they don't necessarily have the means to do so. So that may be influencing how they're grading and why the spectrum is as wide as it is.
I'll say that we are very proud of our team because they have put together a fantastic product, and it's taken everybody doing the right stuff at the right times, getting the right tools in place, the right PD in place, but it's cracking along.
Dr. Huff, so you mentioned we were paring down like our finals and those kind of things. What about the dual credit courses again? Are the universities still going to be requiring their normal finals, or are they paring back on those too?
Yeah, it's all pared back a little bit. And it is different for the different schools. And the universities have given the teachers the specific requirements for each class. But yeah, everybody recognizes that it's just different.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Any other questions or comments on this motion? All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Thank you. Yep. Everybody's working hard. Thank you. And keep up the good work. Summer school date change. Is there a motion for summer school?
Mr. President, I move that we schedule RQS summer school from July 6th through July 31st, 2020.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions or comments? I think we just all vote on this and know that anything can happen.
I had a quick question. For any seniors that, I guess this won't apply to seniors who need to make up any credits, right?
What we're going to do with this summer school in June, we're going to be able to offer some programs through launch for students that do need some of that makeup credit, along with some students to try. We're going to try to open up the platform even more so than what we've had in the past years to try and get kids, one, if anything, a student that didn't catch that last semester of algebra may need it, depending on what their grade was, to move on to the next year. So the platform is going to open up in June for them, and we'll also have it in July as well.
Beth, and specifically, we'll still have the same policy of if you're 1 credit shy, you can still walk at graduation, depending on when that walking is. And then our credit recovery is in July. And so, yes, some seniors would still need to come back. If they, let's say we end up with graduation July, mid-July, and that student is a credit shy or half credit and needs to come back and do that makeup, they could still do it in the July summer school. They would just do it after their graduation, which is typical. Students graduate in May and they come back in June to do that credit.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? All right, let's vote on that, and hopefully that will happen the way we plan. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Dr. Markley or anyone, is there anything else we need to discuss before we have a motion to adjourn?
I just want to reiterate what a great job our staff what they're doing. It's unprecedented. Just the pure compassion that they have for not just the students, but the families in our district. We knew it was there in times like these. It just magnifies. I can tell you that I'm seeing leadership all across the spectrum in our district, not only from the board on down. These are tough times, but we are rising to the challenges. And it makes me proud to see the things that are going on. And just, never before did I think I would get in a 3rd grade Zoom math chat, but I was. But just to see our teachers interacting with their kids, it's pretty special what they're doing. I think maybe after all this is over, we worry about, how people feel about the teaching profession, things like that. I think after a lot of the parents have had to spend a good 2 months at home helping homeschool their kids, they're going to maybe think differently if they had a different thought. So just to reiterate that, and just to whoever's listening out there on the attendees, but our people are doing a great job, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
Yes.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I want to just tag on to what Dr. Markley said, and I just want to give a shout out to Melissa because she, as you all probably already know, she's been very helpful to me this evening. But I really appreciate it. We had our IT meeting, for the lack of words here. And the things that they're doing, I marvel at it, probably because I don't know a whole lot about it, and it's like a whole big world to me, and it is. But I just commend her. I commend her leadership and the people that work under her. They're doing an excellent job.
I have to say, I was talking with a parent today that said she's just blown away by how much our school district was prepared for this. And I said it has a lot to do with Melissa Tevenkamp and the way she was proactive before any of this even happened. So thank you, Melissa.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Agreed. Thank you to everyone. And you didn't mention this, but thank you, the food service. I think that's very well appreciated by a lot of people. Any update or any comments about food service, how that's gone the last week or so?
We've served between 8,000 a day last week. Of course, that is breakfast and lunch. Today we were down a little bit, but it's a service we're providing to our families, and it seems to be very well received and a lot of positive comments.
All right, that's great. Yeah, so I appreciate everyone doing just a fantastic job. I was going to mention one other thing. We won't spend any time on it, but I do want to mention that I've been involved in 2 meetings with the committee and our architects on South High design, and they are coming up with some great ideas and some great designs for that auditorium. So looking forward to having more discussions about that down the road. Anybody else? Any final comments? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
I got a comment.
All right.
I just wanted to say that even though we're going through this trying time, and I'm really impressed with our teachers, especially teachers at Three Trails where my granddaughter is. We've been having a lot of good conversations with her, and but anyway, we can look at this as an opportunity as well. I know that some of the things that have changed will remain changed, and but we can grow from this and really improve from this. So we should be mindful of opportunities that present itself because of what's happened to us.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move that the board adjourn the regular Board of Education meeting at 7:41 p.m.
Second.
You know, I don't know if I'd call it the regular board meeting, but yeah,
Well,
I'm okay with adjourning.
I thought it was a regular board meeting.
Yeah.
Regular.
Well, I'm just talking about, you know,
I don't know what you're talking about.
it's all different. It's different.
Oh, okay, gotcha now. Okay, the regular, okay. All depends on how you look at that word regular, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Adjourn and say aye.
We got the vote.
Aye.
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 All right.
Aye.
Carries. Thank you very much.
Good night, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you.